TRS Val here, and as some of you may know, we've sold the C7 taillights for quite a while now, but we've had a few customers that have had some issues with installation. That ends today. We have this gorgeous ZR1 end today, and I'm going to show you step by step just how to install these the correct way. Let's get right into it. Let's start off by taking off the bumper. To do this, you'll need a 7mm socket to remove the 12 bolts on the bottom. Next, let's remove the two 10mm bolts by the exhaust. With the trim removal tool or a flathead screwdriver, let's remove the plastic trim pieces in the wheel wells. Next, let's remove the T15 Torx bolts. There will be 2 of them. Repeat this on the other side. Next, let's remove the taillight trim piece. To do this, let's grab a 90-degree pick tool, put it through one of the small holes in the bottom corner, and pull out. To release the rest of the trim piece, take your trim removal tool and there will be 6 plastic clips. Simply insert the tool and pry down. Let's set the trim piece to the side. Now there will be one T15 Torx bolt securing the bumper. This will not get reused when we reinstall the bumper. Repeat the same steps on the other side. Now, since this is a ZR1, we have the ZR1 wing. To remove this, you'll need a T30 5-point security bit. There will be 8 bolts. Before you do this, make sure you tape up the brackets with some masking tape because you will scratch the paint. Next, let's pop open the trunk and remove the cargo net. Once that's out of the way, let's remove the 2 bolts that hold on the cargo net and start prying back the weather stripping to release the plastic panel. Next, using the trim removal tool, let's pry out the plastic trim piece on the back of the bumper. Put that to the side. Now with the T15 Torx bit, let's remove the 10 bolts securing the top of the bumper. Before we move on, let's move back the trim panel to give access to the trunk release cable. Next, let's go ahead and release the bumper from the vehicle. To do this, grab the corner and top of the bumper and pull straight back. Do this on both sides. Next, there will be two electrical plugs. Press down the release tab and pull the connector apart. Repeat this on the second connector. Now, the next step will be to release the trunk release cable. To do this, go back into the trunk, remove the cover where the cable connects, then pry up on the cable to release it, and slide the cable head forward to remove it. Next, let's go ahead and fish that cable out of the car. Do this by releasing the grommet and pulling straight back. Next, let's go ahead and move this bumper to a working area. Make sure it's clean so you don't scratch up the bumper. Next, let's remove the connector from the taillight. Do this by releasing the red tab and pressing the locking tab and sliding the connector off. To remove the taillight, there will be 4 7mm bolts. Repeat this on the other taillight. Next, let's install the XB taillights. Now, most people install the taillight first and then the trim panel, but what we found works best is to install the trim panel into the bumper, make sure it's locked into place, and then put the taillights on. Now let's install the taillight trim piece into the bumper. Go through and make sure that all the locking tabs lock onto the bumper and are secure. Now we can go ahead and install the actual taillight. Carefully fit that into place and reinstall the 7mm bolts, making sure that there's no tension anywhere between the taillight and the trim piece. Now we can connect the reverse light to the taillight. And now the taillight harness to the bumper harness. You also have this extra plug. This plug determines whether your turn signal is sequential or not. If you leave it plugged in, you're going to have a solid turn signal. If you leave it unplugged, your turn signal will be sequential. We're going to leave ours unplugged to give it the unique sequential function. Repeat the same steps on the other taillight. Make sure that the trim panel is nice and secure, and then install the taillight along with the electrical plugs. Now we're good to go ahead and reinstall the bumper onto the vehicle. Carefully carry over the bumper to the car. Go ahead and route the trunk release cable through the hole. Secure the grommet so that you don't have any water leaking inside. Route the cable into the plastic piece and lock it back into place. Go ahead and close the cover for the cables and reconnect the bumper plugs to the vehicle. Pick up your bumper, set it on the vehicle roughly where it should be. Check and make sure that the bottom part of the bumper cleared the exhaust tips. Go ahead and grab a flashlight and make sure that the clips on the sides are sliding into the right place. Then press the bumper firmly to the vehicle so that the clips lock into place. Repeat on the other side. Reinstall all the bolts that you removed and plastic trim panels, and you're done.